This is Money Mind's Career Compass segment on CNA938. I'm Chu Wee Lin with Susan Ng. Despite the devastating impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on the meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions or MICE industry, Singapore has been working hard to revive this sector. In November, it held the first physical trade show, which hosted about 150 people from various Asian countries. Attendees were required to undergo antigen tests, and the show relied on technology and other measures to ensure safe distancing guidelines were adhered to.
Will this be the new normal going forward? Well, Singapore-based events technology provider Global Sign-In and Nanyang Polytechnic, or NYP, aren't going to wait and see. They have already announced a partnership to foster the next generation of event managers to ensure that the MICE industry workforce is kept up to date with the industry's latest developments and demands. And to explain how they are going to do this, we're going to be hearing from Vimal Gungadeen, who is CEO of the event technology company Global Sign-In, and also Esther Ho, Director of NYP's School of Business Management. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Vimal, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Esther, tell us how this collaboration between Nanyang Polytechnic and Global Sign-In came about.
See, at NYP, we regularly review our curriculum and we try to identify new training needs through our sector road mapping and industry analysis. So we did a major exercise about a year back, and we were looking at infusing some of these tech applications in a more pervasive way to our hospitality diploma, more specifically on event management. So we did experiment with a few platforms before the COVID days, but this complete switch to 100% digital events during COVID-19 surfaced companies like Global Sign, which has the experience and the expertise that we were looking for.
Now, Esther, do you think it's too premature to be rolling out this collaboration? After all, COVID-19 vaccines are also being slowly unfurled around the world, and things may return to normal within the next few years.
For institutions like ourselves, we need to prepare our students for the manpower needs in 2 to 5 years' time. So this forward planning is critical. There is a degree of forecasting involved, where the industry transformation map for the tourism sector becomes very useful in this case. In my opinion, the global vaccine rollout is unlikely to change the trajectory path for the MICE industry. So digital event is not a new phenomenon. The pandemic merely hastened the pace of this digital transformation. So with this global vaccine rollout, it does give us some time to prepare ourselves for a new normal. I'm sure there's already a textbook already in production as we speak, but this takes time. And given the current situation, there is no one formula that works for all countries. So for us, this means taking time to talk to the key stakeholders and being plugged into what's happening on the ground for us to develop the curriculum and resources to support these changes. And for the students, we're not talking about head knowledge here. For hospitality, for MICE industry, you actually need actual platforms for them to practice, to internalize the skills. So this also takes time. And now for the workforce, it means also time needed for them to be reskilled. We hope that by the time we finish it, we'll be riding on the crest of the wave. There's organizations are ready to take this mainstream, and we have already pool of talent for them, both fresh graduates and those who are already in the workforce and can be reskilled for these new roles.
Vimal, what are your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, I think, like with regards to the vaccine, we were just hearing that it will take years to be rolled out in different countries, right, all around the world. I think we're at this stage right now where there'll be tremendous changes happening. That's already happening right now. If we look back at during the SARS time in China, that was the time when e-commerce really took off, right? So that's when Alibaba really launched Taobao, and then they really became the Alibaba of today, right? But what changed during that time was really what the expectation of people, what became the new normal for people, because e-commerce was not new back in 2003. But then it became normal for people to buy online, right? And we saw a rise in e-commerce, and then that's the world we live in today. So likewise, with regards to what we call digital events, or you can call it virtual events, again, it's nothing new. Some people are saying that has been around for ages, and that's the truth, right? But I think what has changed is the way now people have accepted it, right? So we're talking about the attendee side of things, the organizer side of things. And it's not because anybody believed in digital events, for that matter, but because we were forced. And now we're looking ahead to 2021. So 2020, people were saying, I remember back in March, we were saying, hey, when will physical events come back? And lots of people were saying that will come back in July. And then it changed to September. And then it changed to October, November. And here we are, end of the year. And now we're looking forward to 2021. You know, when you look at the new year, you want to look ahead with lots of aspirations that suddenly things will change. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? It's still going to be a year where mass gathering will still be limited. I think in Singapore, we're taking quite a bit of precautions in the way we open up events. But the digital side of things, the virtual side of things is something that is here to stay, and yeah, that will be an integral part of events.
Vimal, let's talk about the collaboration and what it means for students. What kind of training will be provided to ensure that the students will be ready to be the next generation of event managers?
Right. So you see, the first thing that happened, once this whole pandemic struck, is the whole industry, event organizers, institutions, didn't know really how to go digital, really how to go online, virtual, right? So there were lots of mistakes being made. And the truth is, there are still lots of mistakes being made today. And that are being made purely because of the lack of experience, lack of exposure. So back in, I remember, September of this year itself, we did a survey, and then over more than 50% of the respondents who are event organizers said they've never organized a digital event, a virtual event. So what we want to do with the course, with the partnership with NYP here, is really to provide that practical aspect, to provide that safe haven for the students, for the adult learners as well, to try out a digital event, and that becomes a safe environment, to fail. Because you will have to fail. You'd rather fail in a safe haven as part of a training, as part of a course, rather than do it in the real space itself. And I think that's really something that is missing out there. And that's why we are very eager, very excited to partner together to provide that practical aspect of it.
Right. Vimal, give us some examples of the kinds of technology that students will be able to play around with, and also the kinds of trends and emerging technologies we can expect in the events industry in the near future.
Yeah, so if we talk about trends to start with, right? So you see, nothing beats face-to-face. Everybody is just looking forward towards the coming back of the physical events. And that's already starting to happen, like in Singapore itself, right? But the next trend that we're going to see will be really hybrid events, because digital is not going away anytime soon, right? It will probably never go away. So hybrid events is really events that consist both of the physical part of it and the digital aspect of it. So that will be that's the new trend that we're going to be seeing. And then because this year everybody's just scrambled through to just deliver some events online. So this has been done through platforms like, for example, Zoom. So the next thing that we're going to see is that people are going to spend more time, more attention in terms of the experience of what people do online, right? And this is where we're going to see the coming back. I say coming back because it's not new technologies, but things like, for example, 3D, immersive worlds, augmented reality, mixed reality. So these are the things that we're going to see. And with regards to what we're going to be providing to the students is really these digital tools where they will be able to create their own venues, their own customized venues, their own customized worlds to provide engagement to people when they are going on a digital event, on a virtual event. And in terms of other trends that we're going to see on the physical aspect of things is touchless. So it's going to be primordial for everything at the physical aspect of the events to be touchless, right? So registration, touchless registration, name cards. I already start seeing people being a little bit hesitant in exchanging name cards. So it's going to be back to probably scanning of QR codes. The same goes for brochures. I think we're going to start seeing, and that's probably a good thing for the environment, actually, right? So the disappearance of brochures, because there's no need to print a brochure anymore. When you can just scan a QR code and get that on your phone, on your devices, go back and then have a history of the booths you visited, the people you visited at an event. So I think these are some of the things that we're going to start seeing.
Esther, the rise of digital events has really resulted in many people being very creative and having to, in the last 9-10 months, learning a new skill almost on the fly. But also there's a new role now. Rather than just call yourself an event manager, you could be a digital event manager. Many of us have had to learn how to present and host events, on Zoom and hybrid events and things like that. So blending event management skills together with new media literacy is just one way to go. What are some of those new skills that will be required in this role going forward?
Yeah. I'd like to bring back the point that Viva mentioned in terms of the resumption of some of the physical events, and she mentioned also hybrid as the mainstay. So fundamental skills, whether it's developing content, project management, branding, sponsorship, budgeting, all these are still very relevant, whether it is physical or digital events. But now the key difference is that if you talk about digital events, they are confined to the size of the screen, whether it's a mobile phone or laptop, and it relies on the limited key sensors such as sight or sound. So from the training curriculum, I think the customer experience, user interface designs, video production, editing, live streamings are going to play a more important role as compared to in the past. And because there's this predominant use of technology, it poses also a lot of potential for us to harness the use of analytics, whether it's attending analytics, we can do segmentation, data, and of course the global reach to generate new concepts, new audience, and additional revenue streams. So things like push notifications, curated, customized, or even canned content, gamification, along with innovative products like event management packages delivered to homes, can create richer experience. So I think bring back to what Vima has mentioned, AI, digital marketing, the analytics will also be included in the newer skills that we want to bring out to the students. Just as attendees need to feel safe when attending a physical event, so similarly for digital event, your personal data be safe and secure. Contracts are negotiated via a secure virtual meeting space. So data management and security, cybersecurity will also come into play. So these are the possible new skills that we'll be looking at when we look at the new normal that we'll be operating in 2021.
This is Money Mind's Career Compass segment on CNA938, and we're learning about a new partnership between technology partner Global Sign-In and Nanyang Polytechnic to teach new skills that will be required in the MICE industry in order to cope with the challenges brought on by COVID-19. Our guests today are Vimal Gungadin, CEO of Global Sign-In, and Esther Ho, Director of Nanyang Polytechnic School of Business Management. Well, if you have any questions for them, call us at 669-11938 or text us at 963-11938. Now, Esther, what are your thoughts on whether there will continue to be demand for physical exhibitions in future, and why do you think so?
Yeah, the digital format is unlikely to eradicate the need for physical exhibitions. Some of the nature of the products, like your air show, your food show, may require a physical presence as well. And with some iconic global exhibitions, they often combine with tourism, which brings another attraction to attendees to visit a country to complete the entire experience. But we know, at least for the short term, that mass-scale physical events are unlikely to resume soon. As we can see, the recovery is really uneven and countries are still struggling to manage their borders. So what we're expecting is a sprouting of events, hybrid events, to attract global attendees. So if we can combine these two, hybrid event has the potential to marry the strengths of both digital and physical channels to create differentiated concepts for the attendees. So in that sense, I think this will be the demand for hybrid exhibitions in the future.
Vimal, you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody involved in the exhibition industry are just waiting for when the physical component is going to come back. I mean, starting from the organizers to even the exhibitors, right? And the truth is, right now, the whole industry is just being forced to do things online, digital, right? But then again, what's happening is out of being forced to do that. So people are starting to discover that, hey, maybe certain aspects of it does work. I think we saw that recently with FinTech Festival, Switch, which was probably the whole of this year, one of the largest online digital events that was organized, right? So there was people from all over the world, over 1,000 exhibitors having their own booths, but all digital booths, right? So we're already seeing initiatives like this really pushing the boundaries. But hey, I think that's starting to work, but people are also saying like, yeah, well, I hope to see you physically next year, right? So that's what people are looking forward to. But knowing that it's going to be a transitional phase, so that's where it's going to be hybrid. So exhibition booths will not be able to expect the same volume of people, regardless of the countries worldwide we're talking about next year. To come to their booths. It will be with restrictions, but for sure that's coming back. But then the digital component will be a key aspect to it.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, we've run out of time. I wish we could ask you further questions on this, but perhaps we'll save that for another time in 2021. And that was Vimal Gungadin, who is CEO of Global Sign-In. We also heard from Esther Ho, Director of Nanyang Polytechnic School of Business Management, and they were speaking to us about their partnership to foster the next generation of event managers to build on Singapore's MICE industry capabilities. To both of you, all the best for 2021.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.